Like, all right, you know what? Just don't let him have it.
We're not making this mistake. We're not starting the season off this way. They take that one off the board. Immediate response from CLG. Remove Zoe from the pool. We've seen this champion banned constantly. Very, very powerful. Nobody wants to deal with that. Tom Kench and Rise also going to be taken away.
Yep, and the Rise, like you said, taken away here. And 100 Thieves ended up beating Optic yesterday. That was a 64-minute long game. That came down to some mid-game shot calling to get them back into it. And then at the end of the game, it was all about those team fights and kind of protecting Cody's son, who's slow, right? But CLG Gaming had a really good early game yesterday against C9, and then the game slipped away from them right at the end there. So these teams, like, they basically played different styles yesterday. Of course, one came out with the win, and the other one not as lucky.
Well, our last two bans through this first phase will be Callista from 100 Thieves. Counterlogic Gaming choosing to ban away that massive top lane rock in Orange, so they don't want to deal with that one. It's now up to the Thieves to make the first pick of the game. Let's see what they decide to go with here. Thinking about that Ezreal, which has been very potent in the bottom lane recently, especially with that Klepto rune that allows him to amass massive gold leads early. That is going to be the choice.
Yeah, Kleptomancy. I saw Arrow have a 900 gold lead just based off of Kleptomancy at around 11 minutes over his lane opponent when there were no kills or no turrets taken. That thing, you can really cash in if you're lucky.
Well, let's see what Counterlogic Gaming decides to do against that guaranteed payday if Ezreal's able to land some Qs. Thinking about the Sejuani, I know you are a man who enjoys some Sejuani.
Oh, yeah.
So let's see if Reignover can impress you on that champion today. He is going to be locking that one in for himself. Darshan locking it in for him, rather. Let's see what they decide to go with as their second pick. There's still plenty of strong meta picks left up right now.
Yeah, there are a lot of things still left up. I don't know if they'd match 80 carries here. You can, but there's a lot up, so you really get your pick of the litter if you want to cog Triss, and even going down the list a little bit further. Possibly your premier top laner, since we've seen things like the GP be #1 even in solo queue.
Yeah.
We've seen people first pick this champion as well because it just scales incredibly well. Another Kleptomancy user like you were talking about.
And Kleptomancy is one of those things where if you have a champion that uses it well, it just becomes so incredibly difficult to lane against Gangplank, especially if he manages to pilfer some mana potions. It solves those early issues that he has with spamming the Qs on the enemy champion. More spam equals more Klepto procs equals more spam, etc., etc. And eventually Gangplank gets to the point where he has all that money and he can be that hyper carry. But if we're talking about strong champions, if we're talking about powerful lanes, if we're talking about mechanics that can be frustrating to play against, let's bring this right to the forefront of the discussion, the Malzahar locked into 100 Thieves.
Yeah, the Malzahar champion that some people... Oh, whoa, Ryu! Ryu giving himself the cross there. Like you're praying a little bit. Okay, maybe it's because, hey, maybe... Oh, Afro's got him too. Maybe Huhi, it's like, does he have a counter pick? Because the Zillion... I was going to talk about this. So there's some champions that are considered the S tier, the #1 pick in their role right now.
Right.
Things like Malzahar, things like Gangplank, where people are blind picking them. We saw Huni be like, nope, Lucian beats Gangplank. It's like, hope he doesn't play Lucian. And then Zillion actually counters Malzahar because they both are about the same range. You have stuns, you have a way to stop him from blowing people up if they get picked. Your ulti can effectively counter somebody else's. You'll have an experience advantage because of your passive. And Jensen played this the other day, and you even get a little bit more HP sometimes. If you do want to go for something like a Roa, you don't have to, but it makes it so that you don't get completely chunked out by the Malzahar sometimes. So I like this pick.
CLG going for the classic play what beat you in the last game strategy. They knew that Jensen on this champion was very capable, was able to shut down a lot of the playmaking. They're going to play this themselves this time around. It works out well too, because when you've got a top laner that is squishier like the Gangplank, Zillion's able to step in there, make up for some of that lack of tankiness. Now going into the second part of the bans here, let's see where the teams decide to focus with Evelynn and Tristana taken off the table.
Yeah, it looks like taking away some of those Meteos champions. Exactly, the Zac as well being banned away. And something I want to talk about here with the champion pool of Counterlogic Gaming is that Huhi, the Zillion, may have just been way down in his champion pool, but remember, last year he was talking about how he wanted to be somebody where people were saying, oh, if he's off Aurelion Sol, he's useless. But then he showed this large champion pool, and he became pretty much the best performing member on Counterlogic Gaming, whereas a year before that, it was kind of people calling for, Huhi's head sometimes. Like, this guy only plays 1 or 2 champions. Now, he just has this gigantic pouch he can pull champions from, and the pool is very deep.
Yeah, his ability to expand that and grow as a player in the 2017 season was really impressive to see as he made that journey from start to finish. But now, some things will never change. Stixxay always hovering the Warwick every chance he gets during Champion Select. Now let's see what they actually decide to go for as their last pick. After Thieves makes theirs, CLG will go for the Caitlyn as pick number 4. Kog'Maw, the last ban that we didn't touch on earlier. 100 Thieves, they still have to pick themselves a support. They still have to pick themselves a jungler. How do they round this one out?
Yeah, the jungler looks like they'll go for the Jarvan there. I like that because it's another tank or somebody who's damage-oriented early and then tanky later. The Blitzcrank, I don't know about that. We'll just let Afro hover what he wants here.
All right, let's see what they decide to do with this.
Shen, Taric still available.
All kinds of
Alistar.
options. There's so many options. Right?
Alistar actually would not be bad at all into the Caitlyn, but does he have... Okay. Nope. It's the Braum for protection.
The crowd's disappointed, man. They were really wanting that Blitzcrank, but not today. You're going to get a different champion with the tanky B name to start. So you got Braum. That's something. All right. See what Afromu's able to do on this champion to keep those big damage dealers protected, to be able to make sure that Cody, Sun, and Ryu are not going to get hit by any big skill shots. He can block a lot with the Unbreakable, and the response to that is going to be CLG picking up the Janna.
Whoa, this is a classic, but a dirty classic here. It's the Caitlyn Janna bottom lane. It's something that they basically just use the Caitlyn to be the only person in the lane, just auto-attacking down. The Janna has a lot of presence, and I was talking before about the state of the bottom lane where we're seeing a lot of hyper carries and then melee supports, but now they're saying, all right, we're going for something that bullies the lane, and then we're also going to have a support that's more disengage-oriented and basically supporting the AD carry and being an enchanter.
Versus 100 Thieves. We talked a little bit already about how the outcomes for these teams, and honestly, just the way the games played out on day number 1 were very different. CLG with the early lead, bullying the enemy jungler, taking control of the lanes, but then things sort of fell apart against them. Cloud9 was able to come back. 100 Thieves going up against Optic Gaming. The Thieves down early. The Baron call in the mid game brings them back, makes it so they're able to drag things out and eventually win this 64-minute war of attrition. Now both teams have had a bit of time to analyze what went right, what went wrong, because there were plenty of good and bad decisions from both sides in their day 1 debuts. I really want to see who corrected more for day number 2.
Right now, these compositions, the correction seems to be a little bit more late game in some parts of the map. CLG, top half, looks late gamey to me. And then the bottom, they're trying to look for a bit of power with a pushing bottom lane here, which people have not been opting into on this patch.
Fans are cheering. The teams are loading on to Summoner's Rift for our 3rd match of the day. 100 Thieves versus Counterlogic Gaming. 100 Thieves fighting out of the blue corner. CLG from the red. And Zyrene, two of the players that I really want to focus on during this game. I want to keep special attention onto the junglers. See what these two can do. Because last year, for Meteos and for Reignover, Meteos was a sub on Phoenix 1, and he was a sub on that team under the condition that he was able to play the game his own way. He wasn't fully in the mindset of LCS. It was sort of just a bit of a throwback for him. And then if you look at Reignover, he had a much more underwhelming season than he had in previous years. So for both these players, you're looking to come into 2018 and say, look, I'm back, I'm here, I'm going to compete, this is my time again. You're showing that the sun hasn't already set.
Look at that, Darshan coming out of the bush. Oh, a little bit extra damage there. Afromoon, gonna have none of that though.
Yeah, just a little bit of level 1 poke.
But exactly like you were saying though, early on, Reignover and Meteos both. If you think about Reignover, he's a former MVP of the NALCS and didn't have a good year last year on Team Liquid. And then Meteos, if we gave MVP back in Season 3, 12-plus KDA God probably would have been the MVP back in Season 3.
There's a strong case to make.
These are two guys who have had MVP performances. That means you are the best player in the league, the most valuable player in the league. And now, as of recently, they just haven't been up to that level. And this split is really about them kind of proving, hey, are they back in form?
Right now, 100 Thieves really dedicated and committed to this level 1 invade, looking to fight for the blue buff. Afromu going to be taking a little bit of damage here. Stixxay already below half HP. Cody and Afro will continue trying to force him away. Blue buff down.
Watch out for the Sejuani E. It does 400.
Wants to take them both. He does manage to get that one away for himself. CLG secure the buff.
Yeah, the Sejuani E does 400 damage to neutral monsters, and then he just hits it, smites it, able to time that, and gets both.
Big buff secure there, making it so despite the fact that the bottom lane lost more HP than their counterpart, at least they didn't lose the buff as well. That would have been a massive loss for CLG to walk away from that, losing in terms of health and resources, as well as losing out in terms of experience, gold, and the buff itself. for Reignover early on. Now that he's got that, he can continue to jungle, but you've got to keep eyes on Stixxay and Biofrost here because that early skirmish did put them in a disadvantageous position.
Yeah, Reignover ends up being able to go to both buffs, and meanwhile, Meteos is going to be slow to clear his jungle here.
And Meteos and Reignover, we were talking about in the introduction to this game, these two play similar styles. They're all about the pathing. They're all about trying to keep track of everything in the game and handle things that way. So I want to see who paths better. I want to see who has the macro down. I want to see who's in the right place at the right time more in this game than any other.
Yeah, it always comes down to your team at the same time, right? So who's got those pushing lanes, where can you play, and what's this overall strategy, right? And for Reignover, I would assume he's playing more towards the bottom side of the map here with a pushing lane and then trying to get something going mid lane, trying to get some advantage there with the Zilean pushing. Because I don't think you play to a gangplank lane when he's up against Fleet Footwork Gnar that's just going to heal and keep him underneath turret unless you're trying to counter a dive. And that's where the mind games come in, right?
Right.
Where you think about where you should be playing versus where the enemy thinks you'll be playing and then counter that and go towards the opposite. Change it up.
All about reading what they want to do, trying to get that prediction down. Whoever comes out on top in that mind game going to be the guy who's able to find that tempo and that playmaking capability for himself. Cody and Aphromoo, remember we talked about how the goal here for CLG in picking the Janna was to go for that lane tower. They have 2 ranged champions versus 1 range and 1 melee. They should be able to bully their opponents around, and you can see that despite the fact that they came out a little bit worse for wear in the level 1, they are up in CS, they're up in lane tempo, but we will see Meteos, or not Meteos, it was Ryu actually who triggered that Scryer's Bloom, keeping an eye on where Reignover is.
And Meteos actually just saw that. Now he's bottom lane. They're going to try to engage here. He went over the wall. They haven't seen him here.
Stixxay and Biofrost still trying to get themselves back. Flash going to be used. Stixxay still may be in some trouble. Actually, it's going to be Biofrost. Frag and drag to find them. The flag is there, and kaboom! They've got it.
You're talking about pathing. Meteos takes the blast cone over the wall, avoids the wards that are down in the tri-brush and the river, and ganks the bottom lane as Aphromoo flashes to make the play happen.
Exactly what you want to see from this 100 Thieves roster early on, trying to get those leads, doesn't want to fall behind like they did yesterday.
Yeah, Meteos avoids the wards, saw that Reignover was top with the help of Ryu, and this makes this a very high percentage play. Aphromoo goes in, hits Stixxay, wants that last hit, so he flash Qs, but Biofrost blocks it. Aphromoo says, I guess I'll take the replacement, whatever.
And kaboom, there you go, 400 gold on your 80 carry too. They got it on the guy who they want to put that money on. We talked about how Kleptomancy's going to build you those early gold leads. We talked about how that kind of advantage can snowball you early on, be more valuable than a keystone that does damage or anything like that. 400 more gold, just going to accelerate that even further.
But remember, he was behind in lane by, we already see about a 15 CS advantage here that is in favor of Stixxay. So that's actually only put him about 300 ahead total, or 200 here now that he's gotten back to that lane. And that's even with the first blood, right? That's the 400 gold that should be going over to Cody, plus all of the gold he should be getting from the Kleptomancy. So this was kind of to get back to an even state because the Caitlyn is just so oppressive with Janna.
9.2 thousand to 8.9 thousand gold. 100 Thieves with the advantage right now, thanks to that first blood play they were able to make in the bottom lane. Tear the Goddess now up on Cody's Sun means he's going to be able to stack that better. Muramana, very strong on this champion once again. We'll have to see how quickly he can get that one stacked all the way, get that evolved. First Drake Infernal means that you may see more and more attention paid to the bottom part of the map compared to what you would see otherwise, because teams will prioritize that Drake early more often than not. Yeah. But Cody and Aphromoo have established that footing now, bottom lane.
Exactly, and the fact that Stixxay doesn't have his flash, and it's pre-6, which means that you don't have that Janna ulti for the disengage. If the Jarvan comes back down, it's going to be a really rough fight, but you do have Stopwatch now online with us being at the 630 mark.
Ryu and Huhi in the mid lane. You talked about how the Zilean was sort of the counter pick to the Malzahar here, but Malzahar looking fine right now, honestly. He's got 60 CS compared to 49. The minions are still even, so that's honestly just an 11 CS bonus that he's built up for himself. Both of them have the Lost Chapter, which provides that mana sustain, so the thing I'm going to be keeping an eye on, though, who uses their ult better? We know that you can get so much value out of a Zilean ult, but a well-placed Malzahar ulti to get that lockdown, start a fight off, especially when he's got flash available, can do just as much.
Yeah, and this laning phase, it's interesting because we saw this matchup yesterday and Huhi was the Malzahar in it, and he opted to be more oppressive and push up. But this lane pretty much could be non-interactive if you wanted it to. right? You just use your Malzahar Voidlings, you just constantly push, and then the Zilean will bomb and walk away. He doesn't need to be in range of the minions to actually deal damage to them, right? So you just kind of throw your bombs, walk away, and you shouldn't have to interact with each other. The fact that Jensen got a solo kill yesterday onto Huhi is kind of an oddity in the matchup. It's more about, like you said, countering in the later parts of the game. And Rainover's going to walk the bomb over for Huhi.
Walk the bomb over, get himself that blue buff. Mid laner now going to be able to spam those bombs daily, nightly, and ever so rightly. One thing I want to take quick inventory of, because it's become such a prevalent item, because it's become such a prevalent rune, is the stopwatches. As 100 Thieves starts up the Infernal Drake, you've got a stopwatch on your Jarvan, on your Malzahar, on your Ezreal, on your Braum. 4 out of 5 members of 100 Thieves have a stopwatch ready to go. On the other side, CLG has one available on their Caitlyn. They have one on the Gangplank. So half as many stopwatches available for this team. It means if CLG wants to make a play on 100 Thieves, they're going to have to be aware of those watches as the Drake is secured.
Yeah, but there's so many people in this game that have ended up taking inspiration, primary or secondary, whether it's biscuits, stopwatch, or whatever they're taking. It ends up just being a tree that pretty much everybody wants to dip into a little bit for that utility. Free stuff. And the stopwatches definitely help you get to that later part of the game. You typically will see, everybody want to pick that up, and especially if you're like a diver or somebody who you think will get dove. Example, the Gangplank thinks he'll get dove. The Jarvan may be a part of a dive, right? So a lot of people who just kind of want to take it for those situations. It seems pretty universal. And hey, if you don't want it, you sell it.
I mean, the power of the Stasis is essentially on par with what is a summoner spell. So you've got an extra summoner spell that you can use 3 of then in one engage. As now we see Someday going in on top of Darshan here, jumps forward, finds the ultimate into the wall. Darshan just sets up some barrels, gets himself away, eats an orange, everything's fine.
Yeah, and Darshan's actually been in a good spot because Rainover came up here, and then it was the gank from Meteos on the bottom side. This has been a lane that he's gone even here because Darshan hasn't been dove. There hasn't been a lot of pressure on him. It's just the standard matchup here where he just has to try to CS under this turret.
And going even against Kleptomancy Gangplank isn't actually going even.
Yeah,
because he's getting more gold. He's got 500 more gold than his lane opponent because of what he's farming up through the parlay bonus gold, through the fact that he's getting the Kleptomancy procs.
Yeah, parlay bonus, Klepto procs, bags of gold, everything.
Whoop, Shusha Barrage.
Oh,
nice. Quick feet from Stixay.
Yeah, it's like a little jungle chase going on the bottom side. And there's the TP.
All right, TP in. CLG's bottom lane needing to get away from this one. Biofrost going to try to get out, but it's going to be the suppress from the Malzahar. Waits for the flash, secures it through the summoner spell. 2 for 0, 100 Thieves.
That was a lot of summoner spells blown there, especially on the side of CLG. They blew 3, 1 on Stixay, 2 on Biofrost, and he didn't even get away for the exchange of 3 blown from 100 Thieves, but at the same time, lower cooldown on the TP because of the Summoner Spellbook, so you could make this play again onto Biofrost, and he wouldn't have Flash Up if you did it right on time. That's one of the appeals of taking the Spellbook with Teleport.
That's going to bring 100 Thieves up to a 700 gold advantage, 10.5 minutes into this game. I mean, it's nothing to write home about. It's nothing that they're pretty much counting their win already off of, but it shows this team is making the initiative. They're making those plays.
Yeah, and it's a new team, but a lot of veterans on this team, and we've been trying to look at, hey, where's the voice coming from? Is everybody kind of contributing? And like Meteos said about Ryu, he's pretty selfless. He just roamed down to bottom, TP'd to help make a play, and it seems like 100 Thieves are targeting that bottom lane, which is what CLG drafted for the early game. It's supposed to be their winning lane here that's supposed to have pressure, and they've just completely alleviated it. And Rainover hasn't been able to get much in this game here in terms of pathing or in terms of even applying pressure.
EQ over the wall from Meteos. Not quite going to find the knockup he's looking for onto Stixay. Biofrost right there anyway means you're not going to get a kill with it, but could at least put a little more damage down onto him. Kind of just a favor for Cody Sun and Afro Mood down there. But Cody Sun, 89 CS to the 89 of Stixay. That lead that was built up earlier by the CLG bottom lane has been remedied by the attention that 100 Thieves is paying to this area. Really trying to make sure Cody gets ahead, allowing that Ezreal to hit that powerful mid-game spike that the champion can hit as long as he's not set too far back.
Yeah, if he can hit that Trinity Force, and he's already got the Manamune on point, he's going to be in a very good spot, especially since he's already upgraded his Targons too, and he has his second boots. So right now, checking his gold really quickly, he's up about 800 gold over his opponent. Right here, though, it looks like a collapse. Ryu, he's going to use the Spell Shield.
Trying to find the ulti, does land it onto the Sejuani. Let's see if the follow-up can come through. The Resurrect is down. Huhi trying to buy as much time as he can, get his jungler away from this one. Glacial Fissure not going to be on the mark, and Rainover will live.
That's the
power.
Exactly.
That's the power of the revive. That's what you're talking about. It's a guardian angel that you can just gift away.
Yeah, Malzahar, we've been seeing him so much, especially into Rise, where people are blind picking him, and they're completely fine with, all right, I don't even need to win lane. It doesn't matter what I'm playing against. If I'm able to get priority just by using my 3 abilities on the wave, and I can roam and then just press R on somebody, my whole team will be able to collapse as I keep this guy suppressed. But Zilean does put a damper on that, and I expect to see him more and more as people pick him up as a counter.
Reignover in the bottom lane, just cruising on through here, letting his presence be known. Meteos also hanging around this bottom half. Could see a 3v3 breakout here. Meanwhile, topside, Darshan continuing to just have a good enough time against Someday. I mean, you're never going to have a fun time laning against Gnar, but Darshan's hanging in there, constantly using the W to heal up. Then the parlays to farm up those minions. Someday trying to put any damage onto this turret he can, but Darshan content to farm. And Darshan going up against Someday, remember when Someday first came to the North American LCS, a lot of people saw him as this guy that they were expecting to just completely destroy the top lane. It was like, this dude is amazing, he's one of the best top laners in the world, he's going to come here and destroy everybody. And although he had a very good performance, although he was all in LCS top laner in summer 2017, it wasn't this head and shoulders above everyone else that was initially expected.
Yeah, he wasn't really just like dominating the top lane, but I feel like Someday is more of that team player, right? I think he has a good understanding of what he needs to do for the team. Somebody who's playing things like Nautilus or tanks, and people were complaining like, oh, this is the guy that was like a killer Renekton at Worlds before. But I really do think he's more of a team player. He does have those skills to know how to use an advantage, but I think he's been focusing more on getting an advantage for the team and winning that way. So I do think it's been a bit of a style shift for him.
And sometimes those stylistic shifts can be very good for a player, right? If your team needs somebody who's able to play for the team, if they need somebody who's going to make the right teleport and build defensively and be there to be that initiation, that can be just as valuable as a guy who's going to split.
His TPs are definitely good. His TPs have always historically been very good. I remember that TP where he like rumble TP'd in the middle of a fight to reposition for a better one. That's the one that still sticks with me. But yeah, I remember back in Korea, even then, his TPs were on point. He was always one of the best top laners over there.
Elemental Drake number 2 going down uncontested for 100 Thieves. That one's going to be a mountain, which at the start of the game doesn't do a whole lot for you, but as the game goes on, especially once we press that 20-minute mark and Baron becomes an objective, those become increasingly more valuable as it opens up more windows for a team to be able to secure or sneak a Baron when their opponents don't really know what to do about it just yet. So checking in kind of where we are right now as we approach 15 minutes into the game. Still about a 1,000 gold lead for 100 Thieves. First items starting to come online across the board here. As you can see, the Black Cleaver done for the Gnar. Trinity Force on the Gangplank. Cinder Hulks completed for both of these junglers. Morello Namicon, same story for the mid lane. So we are starting to hit those points where the first important items are there, and the champions can start kind of fulfilling that role they're going to be doing for the rest of the game.
Yeah, but right now we're at that point where there hasn't been a lot of explosive action. Summoner spells are coming back up, and people have stopwatches. So even if you make that first play, the stopwatch will come through and slow it down. So either it's a really big play that has a lot of people involved and then a lot of stopwatches, or you just have to slowly find, okay, let's pick on this guy, get his stopwatch first, revisit, etc.
The most important part of the stopwatch is the stop, because that's what it makes you do when you're thinking about making a play onto somebody that has one.
Yeah.
You've always got to reconsider, can I kill this guy through a 2.5-second stasis?
But that's the other thing too, is a lot of people look at things like even just basically like cooldown and things like just how long a spell has as a cooldown, right? Where stopwatch doesn't keep you in stasis forever, right? Nope. You end up just going in for 2.5 seconds, but League of Legends is just a game of seconds when it comes down to, oh, this guy's being attacked and the team has to respond. 2.5 seconds, that's a long time. Is a long time, but if I tell you 2.5 seconds is a long time, normally outside of the game, you're like,
what are you talking about? Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. 2.5 seconds. Okay, 2.5 seconds is gone. But if that's in League of Legends, that feels like an eternity. There's so much that can happen in that time frame.
And people respond very quickly, so it's a game of seconds. The stopwatch, even though it only provides 2.5 of them, it's more than enough for a lot of teams to just be able to reinforce.
Meteos flexing those muscles in the bottom lane once again, telling Stixxay and Biofrost that they have to back off. There's nothing that they can do about him clearing out some of those control wards, and now they'll move up into enemy territory. Once again, approaching towards that blue that they wanted to contest at level 1 and weren't quite able to find. Zombie ward pops up there.
Yeah. We're seeing Zombie Ward a little bit. We see it, I believe, from both junglers here. Meteos with Domination Tree as his primary. And Reignover as his secondary here. Fleet Footwork as his #1, as his primary here. But hold on, let's see if Reignover ulti.
Nice stun into stun, but also a good hold to get away from that CC. Good use of the cleanse there from Ryu.
Ryu's playing smart. Ryu's playing really smart. Look at this in the top lane. that turret went down solo. There hasn't been pressure top lane. Like I said, this is supposed to be your winning lane. If you're 100 Thieves, you win this top side of the map. You're supposed to lose the bottom side, but they ganked the bottom side, and that turret that belongs to Aframu and Cody's son is very low, but ever since they got those ganks, they're able to reverse this pressure, and you could be looking at a potential 2 turrets to 0 based off of the ganks that happen.
And with the Sheen and the Mana Moon, you can see when Cody lands those Qs onto Stixxay, it takes off about a quarter of his health. Those are very, very punishing. So Aframu and Cody's son actually sitting in a pretty good spot now that we've got past that early game point, that they have managed to deal with that disadvantage down here in the bottom part of the map. We just saw the turret fall on the top side. That was first turret of the game, and it brings 100 Thieves up to a 2,500 gold lead.
Yeah, and right now, you see Reignover and Meteos, both of them know they want to be on the bottom side. Reignover has no ultimate, though, and Meteos is shadowing so they can get this turret.
Meteos with the EQ through the bush.
Yeah.
Gets himself out. Not really concerned about fighting a big tanky Sejuani in the jungle. There's nothing to gain there.
Yeah, this is basically babysitting. You just want to find the enemy jungler, and if you find him, you go, okay, we know where he is, so he can't be bottom right now. And if you don't see him, then you have to definitely worry about the potential of, if we're going towards this turret, are we going to get countered?
It's not a game for damage, it's a game for information. Meteos got the information he needed. The fact that he hit the Sejuani for 200 on the way out was just a bonus. They take down the turret. That's number 2 for 100 Thieves. Brings that lead up to about 3K. Very, very solid state for them to be in right now in this game. As we get closer to 20 minutes, Baron going to be spawning in just over a minute here. Drake coming up again in 90 seconds. It is another mountain. And like I said earlier, the value of those will increase as the game goes on. 100 Thieves controlling both so far. We'll definitely want to continue that.
Yeah, and now, as people come out of the base, I like to pay close attention to exactly where they're heading right out of the gate. And it just looks like standard lane assignments. No swap because the top turret and the bottom turret are already down. But I assume that Aframu is now going to run towards the middle river and ward up the bottom half of the map so that they can push towards that middle turret.
Generally, that will be what you want to see from your bottom lane after they take down that enemy tier 1, at least from the support, right?
Yeah. But right now, Stixxay heading topside. So it's a switch up here from Counterlogic Gaming. I don't know if they think that it's going to be a swap, but they've ended up going this way. And now there's potential for Rift Herald, but the Mountain Dragon is in 45 seconds, like you stated before. They might be saying, okay, you can take Mountain Dragon, we will get top turret, and that's the trade that they want to make to even up that turret count.
I mean, when you look at what's already happened for the previous 2 Drakes for CLG, the answer is nothing. They didn't get anything. 100 Thieves got 2 neutral objectives. CLG saying, okay, we're just kind of going to concede the Drakes this time. Make sure you get something for it, right? Yeah. Make sure there's some sort of reward to be found there, some kind of a trade-off. But 100 Thieves not going to be accepting that today.
Yeah, but is it a mistake here from CLG, or is it a stroke of brilliance? Because right here, they haven't lost that top turret on 100 Thieves side. They're looking for this fight just barely, and Darshan ended up clearing out the wave. So they're just going to go back up top. Looks like they have no interest in that Mountain Drake on spawn. And 100 Thieves are all in this middle lane here, figuring out what their next move is. And it looks like pressure mid and go for that dragon.
And if you're the Thieves, you know that the Gangplank ultimate is down for about another 90 seconds. This is your time to make something happen. You can see them moving towards the Mountain Drake now. They know that without that Gangplank ulti, CLG really doesn't want to force anything. Neutral objective number 3 for 100 Thieves. Really starting to make a case for themselves here. CLG pushing in the top side onto the tier 1, getting themselves some extra gold from that objective. Should still have plenty of time to take that one down. One last shot from Stixxay to secure it. Winner's Bite won't be finding the mark. Even if it did, Stixxay has one hell of a shield.
Yeah. They end up getting the trade that they want on Counterlogic Gaming side. They give over the Mountain Drake, which isn't useful unless you're at turrets. And they take that top turret for some gold, because when you have a composition that outscales, doing that, 100% okay. You just want gold in your pockets. So, Doom Jacuzzi slammed them down there. Meteos able to get that dunk and the kill there on Dahuhi, but we talk about Zilean as a counter. Now he might have to buy QSS here just to ulti himself.
I mean, when you're suppressed for that long with the bonus damage from the Jarvan, it's not even a Jarvan that's building damage. I mean,
yeah, he's got none.
He's got a Cinder Hulk and he's got Face of the Mountain. That's a lot of HP. Yeah. That's some nice defensive capability.
It's interesting, because Face of the Mountain, Meteos did this yesterday on Sejuani, and I believe he's the only person that I saw really do this. And
oh, whoa, okay.
Cast that, Flowers.
Oh my god. Unfortunate there for Biofrost as he ends up getting himself an extra death. That's number 3 for the support from CLG as 100 Thieves goes up to a 4-0 lead. Now looking to push onto the Baron. Gangplank ultimate is up. It's time to force them away.
He's TPing as well. Oh, he canceled it.
Ooh, that's...
I think they double TP'd.
They want to be.
They double TP'd.
So that's 2 TPs now canceled by CLG.
Wow. I think they were so shooken up. It's like, it's an Afro Baron call,
We gotta
boys.
go, we gotta
know
go,
what
we gotta
this is
go.
like. But boom, boom, boom. Wow. 3 hits him there to take him out.
Iceborne Gauntlet completed on the Ezreal as well, going for the more defensive option as opposed to the Trinity Force that gives you more damage, that gives you more movement speed. Iceborne, all about that kiting.
Yeah, I think the Iceborne is actually a little bit more common in professional play because it gives you resistances, and also on top of it, it makes it so that your next Q is most likely hit confirmed. If you land one, you're probably going to land another, right? And reaching people is a very important part of being able to deal your DPS. Whereas Trinity Force, you're just throwing it out there, hoping it lands multiple times. Yeah.
Sunday will continue maintaining pressure in the side lane, doing a good job on that Gnar. Frozen Mallet now done on him means that he does get the opportunity to land even a single auto attack. That combined with the boomerangs is going to keep his target locked down, even if he does eat an orange. So Darshan must be very, very aware of that, but he's got Ghostblade completed for himself. You can see him now working on what I believe will be a Sterix Gauge. You see that a lot on Gangplank, helps him survive the burst, also allows him to have a little bit of extra on those Trinity Force procs with his gun.
Yeah, and it got buffed. The base damage got buffed, which means that the Trinity Force proc is even more damage now.
Which then spreads to the barrel, which hits even more people and makes it even more deadly. CLG, 5 men strong here in the mid lane. True Sop Barrage going to be finding 2. Cody Sun over the wall.
And I like seeing this from Cody, because yesterday his Kog'Maw wasn't stepping up. There was a 64-minute long game with his Kog'Maw that basically bought every single item in the game and just cycled through them because it was just so long. And he wasn't stepping up. He like swapped for like Bloodthirster for some more, defensiveness, and went back and forth. But now we're seeing him E forward, shoot out those Qs and just try to at least poke.
Being brave, flexing the muscles.
It feels like he's safe. Is it gonna bite him, or is
He's got
it
his
gonna be
team
real?
near him. He's got Afro holding on nearby. Cody with the arcane shift over the wall, making sure nobody can go after him any further. Still about a 3,500 gold lead here for 100 Thieves, but things seem to have slowed down a little bit. After they took down 2 of those outer turrets, they haven't been able to break this defense middle as Rainover looking to maybe go in here. Darshan calls down the ulti. They're able to find the catch out here onto Aframu, who's going to be kept alive now through the stopwatch. Darshan now going to be suppressed, but Stixay finding the kill onto Aframu. 1 for 0 so far. The Thieves in retreat. CLG able to find their win.
Yeah, Stixay kills his old lane partner there. Says nothing personal, Zach. But Someday at the same time, pushing the bottom lane. That was what they were going for. 100 Thieves were all trying to back up because Someday wasn't going to TP into that. Instead, he's just trying to get that bottom turret for the gold. And I like this from Cody. He's keeping them low so they can't Baron.
Making sure they all stay away. Making sure they're all constantly keeping an eye on him as he tries to go over, steal the red away. Won't quite be able to find it. And now Stixay and Huhi, he's going to chase down onto him. Stixay applies the red, gets the slow, but realizes he's low. Can't continue that chase any further. CLG has to back away.
Yeah, and we're looking at an Ezreal right now that has an arcane shift of 8.5 seconds is the cooldown, but every time he lands that Q, he's taking 1.5 off of it, so he's just spamming. He started up, Meteor's taking a lot of damage though. He's not that tanky.
Whoa! That True Shot Barrage hit Bio for about half his HP.
Bio's squishy.
Yeah,
Very squishy.
I mean, that's kind of the nature of being Janna. You're not really going to end up being too tanky, especially buying things like Ardent Sensor, Ionian cooldown boots, Eye of the Watchers. I mean, that's his only HP.
Yeah, and it's something that people aren't as used to because these team fights go a little bit later in the game, and we're seeing all of those supports like the Braum soak up a lot of damage. This is a big difference in how long the survivability was between the two teams, between the two supports. Aframu definitely took him a long time to go down.
Aframu drops, Meteos gets away, but CLG at least gets themselves on the board. They're able to find a kill. Problem is they're still 4,000 gold down. They still only have 1 turret compared to 4, 0 dragons compared to 3. They got a ways to go.
Yeah, and those dragons now, we talked about, those mountain dragons don't mean anything unless you get to turrets, but they have 2 of them. A Malzahar and Baron is now one of the big objectives. So 2 mountain drakes means a lot when you're trying to rush that down. If you, like we saw before, start up the Baron, the other team might panic. We saw the double TP from CLG to try and just push them off the Baron. And I think that that's what 100 Thieves are going to try to leverage. Are these double mountain drakes in the near future? Even if they're using just Someday to split push, which he is right now.
Shot Barrage comes out. Good aim from Cody overall this game, too. He's able to find a lot of these Mystic shots down onto pretty much anybody who happens to be within range of them. Someday continuing to split push here in the bottom side. Darshan going to be jumped on, fires off the ulti, wanting to fight this one mano a mano. Someday going to turn into Mega Gnar here, which could spell disaster for Darshan, who gets himself the ulti from the Zillion. Someday wanting to wait, burns down the Darshan after it already timed out, and the man's got the slam! He finds the one! Can he find the two? Someday, one bomb on his head. Wallop not going to be finding the mark. Walking away, wants to go back to mini form, finds a little bit of damage, but I think the bomb will seal his fate. It does, but it's still an even trade.
Still buying so much time because he brought Huhi to the bottom side of the map there, got the ultimate, played it beautifully in that 2v1, and still gets a kill.
Well done from Someday. Those are the kind of plays we're talking about how good this guy is, wanting to see what he can do there in that top lane. 299 CS in 27 minutes. He's farming up a storm.
Yeah, there's a lot of farming that ends up going. I feel like we do actually have to adjust a little bit our timers for, 10 per minute mark, because jungle camps are worth 10 now, so every time you take like four, sorry, it's 10 per minute
they
mark.
were worth 10.
I know. 10 per minute mark is what I was saying, and numbers just got mixed up. Yeah, jungle camps are worth 4, but also minions spawn a little bit earlier too, so at 10 minutes, you can actually have a little bit more than 100 CS if you play it well, right? Because there's an extra 30 seconds on there.
CLG, they are scaling. You've got 2.5 items done on your Caitlyn. You've got Zillion with about 2.5 items. Sejuani with the Warmogs now completed means that he's going to be able to heal up any of that poke that comes his way, specifically from that Ezreal that we were talking about with all those Mystic shots. And we all know how Gangplank works with farms. Sterak's Gauge now completed. He's still less gold than Someday now, though. After Someday was able to find himself that kill and continue to find these farm leads, he's slightly, and I mean ever so slightly ahead of that Gangplank, only by about 400 gold.
Yeah, that's the thing, is it's pretty low in terms of how much gold he's up right now, especially considering there's a 4-turret lead, 400 Thieves, and Someday has been pushing those side lanes and has a 40 CS advantage. So Klepto is doing a lot of work alongside Parlay to keep Darshan up in gold. And Cody-san has to flash because he couldn't land a Q on anybody. There were 3 seconds left on his E.
They're going for counterattack, though. It's Ryu able to find the ulti onto the Zillion. Zillion ult comes down instead, but it looks like they're going to wait it out again. Stuns down onto Afro. Moo. They're able to find the kill onto Meteos. Stixxay grabbing that one for himself. Cody still looking to find some more poke. 2 bombs down, same spot, but they won't attach for the stun. Someday coming in from the flank. Cody again going to be jumping forward, looking to find those Mystic shots. CLG walks away with a 1-for-0.
Yeah, Stixxay is doing a good job, though, of playing that frontline Caitlyn, maximizing his DPS, and just taking those pot shots. He has the Targon's Brace for the large shield, and then he also has Biofrost to help shield and push people away if they get close. So Stixxay is playing frontline right now, and he gets the movement speed. So this is kind of a CLG classic since Stixxay joined. The Tristana, the Caitlyn, the frontline AD carry for himself with the team boosting him up.
Frontline AD carry with all the range, all the backup. It's exactly what he needs to play the way we want to see him play. And now it's CLG looking to go for Baron. 100 Thieves wants to stop this one.
Cody got chunked there. They're trying to bring Someday in.
Someday needs to be a part of this fight. Honestly needs to hit a pretty big Mega Gnar ulti. Two-shot barrage comes through, finds its way onto Stixxay, who immediately heals right back up off the Scuttle Crab. Bomb attached to that. Looks like they're able to find the suppress. They are going to proc the Zillion ulti immediately, but now that means Meteos is able to go into the back line, able to find the EQ knockup onto a couple of different people. Someday still looking to find even more Mega Gnar ulti onto 2. Stixxay already down. Biofrost is number 2. Can they find number 3? Into the pit they go. The stun, the damage, the kill onto Reignover as they continue to chase a double kill for Someday, who he continues to run, but as the last man standing, he will not run for long. That little Yordle is coming in for revenge from earlier, sidestepping away from the bombs so they do not attach. Who he's going to continue to run, and it looks like they may just allow him to run in there and try to suicide Someday, looking for the kill. Who he puts the ulti on himself. Someday's going to wait it out. The boomerang misses, and who he may just be able to get himself away for an execute, if nothing else. Boomerang comes out. Someday again not finding it, but the 8 for 100 Thieves.
CLG just are not respecting the Malzahar here. They've counterpicked with the Zillion, but at the same time, no QSSs on anybody on Counterlogic Gaming. They're basically saying, we're going to use the Zillion ultimate as a QSS. They put it on Stixxay, but now he's completely out of position as Meteos flanks. He gets tagged by Afro Moon, stopwatches, and then he gets picked up that frontlining AD carry strat that we were talking about, fights them because he's stuck in the front line after everybody gets flanked and sectioned off.
And then the result is this.
Yeah, it was just a roll over. Meteos with the flank, was perfect. He ended up knocking up Biofrost before he was really able to get people off of Stixay. And this team is only having Reignover as the tank. He can't frontline for everybody.
And look at the gold lead now, nearly 10,000 gold for 100 Thieves. Baron buff up and running on this entire team someday, continuing the split push. This is a very dire situation for CLG. A game that they had a disadvantage in, but that they were scaling in, has now become a game that they are fighting to stay alive.
Yeah, and one of the big reasons for the fact that they've been struggling is Someday split push has just been monstrous here, keeping Darshan occupied. He's 2 levels up now over him. But also, I think Ryu, these 2 solo laners, have been doing massive work in keeping the pressure up. Ryu has been pretty much non-stop ulting whenever he can. We saw it early to catch out Reignover, get the ultimate from Huhi, and just trying to pick. And last one, now Stixay has a QSS, so that is something he does not want to have happen again.
Darshan calls down the ultimate on himself, trying to dissuade Someday from going any further. Mega Gnar going to be up soon. Huhi nearby to make sure Darshan doesn't fall, but they give up the tier 2 mid. They give up the tier 2 mid. Someday created the space.
Exactly. Someday basically created a vacuum, said, you're going to lose this top turret. It's a bad situation if you don't answer me because I will get it. But they answer with more people, and when a split pusher needs 2 people to answer him, you're in a very good position when you're pushing.
Creates so much room for the rest of the team to work. So instead of just giving up the top tier 2, they give up the mid tier 2, then they give up the top tier 2. Everything works out for 100 Thieves. Everything working out means you also get yet another elemental Drake under your belt. So this one's going to be a Cloud to give them some of that extra movement speed out of combat. And it means that Elder will spawn at about the, what is that, 40-minute mark on the dot, I believe?
Yeah, but I don't know if 100 Thieves want it to keep going. This
They just end it.
This Gangplank is starting to pick up some critical strike chance, which adds more variance. And look at that Flash ulti, but
Flash ulti, you've got to kill him before he's able to find the ulti, and they do the slam dunk! But it's Someday who finds the kill for himself. Now, without that enemy mid laner around for 50 seconds, this is where 100 Thieves can make their game-winning push. Someday in the front line, Flash, Mega Gnar! Stixay's out of there! Cody's son on a killing spree. They'll take Bio as a bonus, and 100 Thieves march onward towards the Nexus. 2 turrets, 2 members stand between them and their victory. Let's see what they can find here. Turret number 1 gonna be the target. The defense comes out, but it will not stand. Reignover down. 1 turret down. 100 Thieves on the remaining structure still standing. CLG still has 15 seconds before their mid laner comes alive. Darshan alone will not hold this, and 100 Thieves find their win.
they take the Nexus, they take the loot, and they take down CLG. Afromu in the bottom lane, helping orchestrate those plays with Meteos to reverse the pressure of that lane in the draft was brilliant, and it gave Someday space. He was unharassed. Someday was able to split, got first turret by himself on the top side, and then he was able to split push like a monster.
Absolutely awesome showing, like you said, specifically from these solo laners on the side of 100 Thieves. But I also got to give credit to the bottom lane, to the jungle. We saw in the early game how Cody Sun and Afromu were in this lane that was likely to lose, but Meteos, he showed up in the bottom part of the map, even from level 1 to try to steal away that buff. It put their opponents at a bit of a disadvantage. Constantly had them thinking, is Meteos going to come back? Is Meteos going to be here? Is this actually a 2 versus 2? That lane that should have been a weakness for 100 Thieves ended up getting ganked, ended up finding success early, and it made it so the strengths of the solo laners did not find themselves offset by a weakness at the other parts of the map.
And if you're Afromu, you got to be feeling good. That was a fantastic game. You were able to shut down the bottom lane in particular. And anytime you go up against where you came from, you know, it's always going to be a little bit bittersweet when you take them down. But at the same time, it does give you a little validation that you made the right choice to end up going somewhere else. But also at the same time, well, it kind of says like, well, you know, I was a big part of how we won.
Yeah, he was a big part of how they won, and today he was a big part of why they lost, because he was able to be a part of those early game successes like we were talking about. Even in the mid game, when 100 Thieves looked like they maybe might lose him as CLG got aggressive, he pops the stopwatch, keeps things okay for them. The whole team played together very well as a unit, and honestly, that's what I'm looking for so much of right now from these teams at the beginning of the split, is the fact that there's not a lot of time that a lot of these teams have been playing together for, right? We're not talking about squads that have been together for years and years and years. We're talking about largely new squads. Even if a lot of the players have played together before, you're still looking at, well, what does this 5-man roster look like right now? And in that game, 100 Thieves look clean.
100 Thieves look clean. They are 2-0 now at the end of week 1, and that is a fantastic start for them, taking down Optic and now also taking down CounterLogic Gaming. And a lot of people were saying CounterLogic Gaming, you know, they're going to look up and up. They have Rainover, they have Biofrost, but 100 Thieves, the experience on this roster, this is a very experienced roster. Across the board, you are looking at people, aside from Cody Sun, that have played for years professionally. And Cody Sun is now basically in his sophomore year now for the LCS and pro play. And he looked better that game. He looked like he was empowered to go forward and try to land those Qs as an AD carry.
And 100 Thieves, especially being one of the new organizations in the NALCS, now that franchising is hit, it's a great way to start off their first week. But now we're going to send things down to Avli May and the 100 Thieves support for more on that win.
Thanks, guys. I am here with Afromu. First of all, congratulations on that win. And I want to ask you, you just beat the team that you have played with for almost 4 years. Is this a proud moment for you, or is it bittersweet?
It was 5 years, but it's okay. It's okay. I was a little nervous going into this match since it was my old teammates and stuff like that, but I was pretty excited with our new roster and 100 Thieves that we were able to beat them.
Now, like you said, you went against some of your old teammates, Stixay, who you essentially helped train and grow. Was playing against him a proud dad moment, or was it a, I'm going to put this kid in his place?
Trevor's a good kid. He actually has really good mechanics. It was really hard to land a skill shot on him. Usually I have that on my team from playing on CLG, right? But CLG's going to do well. They are a new team coming together from the jungle and support roles as well, but they just need a little bit of time and they'll be fine.
So now you're playing with Cody's son. What do you think of him so far?
Cody's a beast. Definitely has been teaching me a lot in terms of bottom lane and taking it patiently. Usually I would feel rushed and stuff like that, but he definitely controls the situation and helps me realize what we need to do, when we need to do it, when to back off as well. And he's really good at communicating and just, I love that.
Perfect. Well, you guys had an extremely successful first week, 2-0 in the first week of the NALCS. For those people who are not fully sold on 100 Thieves yet and their strength, what would you have to say to them?
We're coming for you.
Perfect. Thank you so much for this interview, and we're throwing it back to our guys at the desk.
Thank you very much, Avli. Deserved confidence coming from Afro there as they move to 2-0, as well as CLG surprisingly moving to 0-2 here at the end of week 1. So all kinds of craziness happening here on the outset of the 2018 season. But as we dive into this game in particular, I want to take a look at that bot lane as it was Afromu up against his former roster, Stixay across from him. Let's take a look at the tools they drafted and how they played through this match.
Narratively, it's very fun because everyone wants to focus on Afro versus CLG, and then that ends up being pretty important. They grabbed the Ezreal early on, considered very strong, and then CLG does not match that pick, so they spend their next 2 bans targeting AD carries, which forces the Caitlyn Janna lane. They go for this bully lane, which can work, but it's definitely not strong, generally speaking, in the meta.
Yeah, and Ezreal Braum is still really good, right? You saw Cody Sun was able to get his CS off pretty well, and it didn't end up being like a super deciding factor in the game.
Yeah, I mean, we saw a lot of focus coming to the bot lane as a result of that kind of aggressive style that the Janna and the Caitlyn is forced to play.
Yeah, and the Braum is way better at gank assist than Janna. So, like, yes, you can push up with the Janna Caitlyn, but you're not actually, aside from taking a turret, really forcing kills. And that's what the rest of the team did. You can see all these times they're coming down and assisting to be able to get the kills.
Right. And from there, you just kind of plow ahead to one big team fight that'll break the game open for 100 Thieves. With those small advantages they built, they kind of curtail it into one massive team fight, and that's going to buy them the real estate to win the game.
And it's a really nice combination by Meteos here, getting off on the flank. They don't know he's there. The super keeping him out of vision. Gets onto the back line, causes some panic. Also, the Caitlyn going down to the Malzahar ult feels pretty bad.
You really have to criticize Stixay there. He gets the Zillion speed up to run full speed into a Malzahar ultimate as the front line. They have a Sejuani on this team, and they have a Gangplank who can easily escape that ultimate. So definitely a misplay to start that fight, but 100 Thieves right there to punish.
Great play out of Someday overall for the whole course of this game, and gets the cleanup kill. Looked like he might get the execute.
That was close,
yeah,
man.
it was real close.
We were counting there to the 15 seconds. A little surprised that the kill did come through, but at the end of the day, 100 Thieves pick up the victory. And this is where I want to take a moment to zoom out and look at these two teams and how they finished here week one. Jat, you had power rank CLG #1 in the league, and here they are 0-2, winless in week one. What do you have to say?
Mark, who'd you power rank first? Where
Where
are they finished?
TSM.
Oh, okay.
Also 0-2.
So a lot of things happened this week that are definitely against expectations. For what it's worth, I had 100 Thieves as 4th, and they did actually play very well in this game. So what is going well and what isn't going well? I think for CLG, I do think their drafts have been a little bit suspect in these games. They almost forced the Zillion counterpick into Malzahar, even though they were surprised by it yesterday as kind of a gotcha. And then 100 Thieves are performing better than I expected them to do. They had a very close game, for what it's worth, yesterday against Optic, and looked like they are improving with the communication and the experience they have on that roster.
It feels like there's still a little bit of room to grow here for 100 Thieves. This time around, they had a really clear gank lane to hold down, and they played to that very well, shut down one of the win conditions for CLG. You know, yesterday versus Optic, they were on their back foot, they were down pressure, and they struggled to get back in that game over time versus the pushing lane. So they kind of learned their lesson this time, and it's nice to see that, but I think a lot of people are looking forward to seeing how much more they can improve.
Yeah, and I'm also really looking forward to the rest of the North American LCS split, because I'm digested.
I'm done.
Yeah,
One was
it's
all
really
I
fun.
If you want to host,
You're a huge CLG fan. They're 0-2. It's over. But really, I heard 6 different teams, various members of their organization, say, with confidence, we're going to win the split.
Yeah.
6. That's 60% of the league so far that has aspirations for winning. 100 Thieves is one of those teams. CLG is one of those teams. And they're going to be battling each other. So, yeah, we can make all these preseason power rankings. Those things never hold up towards the end of the split.
Especially when it's this volatile. Like we said, 9 players returning to teams at the start of the week. It's absolutely insane to think that you're going to know exactly who's going to work out, and especially when there's still synergy to improve on.
I just love that there's that many teams attacking it. And you can make an argument that stands really strongly for any of those 6. And 100 Thieves is one of those teams.
And I think at the end of the day, I loved that moment in Afromu's interview. One of the most experienced guys on the stage. Hands down, here in North America, one of the most experienced players out there. And all he talked about was how much he's learning from the young gun in the lane next to him, right? That's what tells me, and this kind of speaks to the surprise that they're as good as they are right now. You know, but if they're communicating that well,
and it's
then
not a surprise
it starts to make a little bit more sense.
It's not a surprise to them.
Right.
They've been confident. I heard Afromu and podcasts and interviews say that they're going to win the split.
100 Thieves undefeated in week one. CLG still looking for their first win. We're going to step away when we return. The Golden Guardians meet Cloud9 on Summoner's Rift. Don't go anywhere.